Okay, part 2 of the heart chakra. So this is where you're gonna experience a lot of grief. When you start doing heart work, you're gonna experience a lot of grief, and it's gonna be around themes of betrayal. And first it's gonna happen with people actually betraying you in real life, or you realizing how you were betrayed on really deep levels. But then what ends up happening as you continue in this work, you're going to take the blame off the person that you're associating the trauma with and the abandonment with and all of those really hard emotions, and you're going to turn it back on yourself. And you are going to see where you have actually self-abandoned and sacrificed self, and you are the one that created all of these dynamics. Now, obviously this is different when you're dealing with the childhood wounding of it, but in your current reality, this will pop up, this will show up. It's where you have created relationship patterns with everybody in your life that allowed you to get to the point that you're at. This is where acts of service versus acts of performance will get highlighted, where you will start to realize where you are performing acts of service because you want to be loved by others, rather than doing an act of service because you are in your sovereignty saying, I want to do this for somebody. There's a big difference, and I see this a lot in clients. A lot of people don't know the difference. I energetically can read it, so I can point it out pretty easy. There's also something really interesting that happens in this chakra, and it's when you can see all the people that have hurt you in your life, exactly who they are. And I'm not somebody that is huge with forgiveness. I do believe that that terminology used in spirituality is something patriarchal to keep women down, and I won't get into that on this video. What my goal is with my clients, and has always been a goal in my life with things, is to become indifferent about it. Meaning you don't have a feeling either way towards it anymore, because you hold this belief that at some point you created the dynamic, you take radical self-responsibility for it, and then you see how that is ultimately, because you're choosing to utilize that to get you somewhere. And so this is when you start really stepping into a power and understanding in a heart way, meaning that your demons work for you. So down here, we're doing it in a different way. When you get up here, you're realizing that even the people who have got one over on you and have harmed you in some type of way, ultimately that was also working for you anyway, for your elevation, for you to move forward. Now this can be any type of way. I always say, like, my last marriage that I left, like, that was so traumatic in the ending. I remember when I was going through something very specific when I was moving into this condo, and I said out loud, I will never let a man do this to me again. And at that point, huge dynamics started shifting for me with my understanding of my role in relationships and why I end up where I do. At that moment, I realized how much I self-abandon when I'm in love, and that I will do anything for my partner. I was always a ride or die bitch. That's how I am. I'm a loyal Leo. That's just how I roll. But something that I always lived by, because that was a default thing that I thought was a part of my identity, was actually a trauma response from abandonment wounds. And so I healed that part of me. No, I'm ride or die for myself, and that's it. I go above and beyond for myself. I know how to love somebody now in a very healthy space, where I am not looking to intermesh our realities and need to be something for this person. I am me, and I never, because this is all in the heart, this is all the work I did when I was in my heart chakra, I will never try to change someone. Ever. I take everybody at face value. If we are going to be in an intimate relationship in any type of way, I am looking at you exactly as you are presenting to me. I, in no way, shape, or form, are looking for potential in you, are fantasizing about something you are not. If you are as dumb as doornails and I want to be with you, it's going to be because you're dumb as doornails and I think you're hot, and that's it. This is where women get trapped, because we are taught to self-abandon and to glow up everybody around us. And this is why women lose their glow in relationships. And then when they get out of those relationships, their glow comes back. You can see it in all of my before and afters from a few years ago, how different I look now. Had nothing to do with him though. I take responsibility for that. It was me constantly giving and never receiving anything in return and not understanding the difference, because that's how I was taught relationship went. When you as a woman have this type of sovereignty in relationship, you will not do the whole thing where you're completely avoiding the masculine and feel like you need to run from them at every turn. Like, you will decide when you want to be in partnership, when you don't want to be in partnership, and you will be completely autonomous in that relationship because you're standing in your power. Your sexual energy will no longer be stolen from you to be used for somebody else's creative power, because you will know how to self-contain. But this all comes from understanding this dynamic in the heart. And this is why the awakening process starts at the bottom and moves up, so that you can go each one, because each one builds, it prepares you for the next, so that you can become like a sturdy tree in the center of your spine. This center is especially good to heal for those people that are naturally healers, or for those that claim themselves to be an empath. You're not an empath. Everybody has empathic tendencies. Being an empath is a trauma response. It comes from being young and having to be hyper vigilant about everybody's energy around you, because it meant your ass if you weren't. I'm very, very familiar with this. And so you learn to hyper read everybody's energy so that you know how to think, act, and behave. And you take on that energy. But now we're calling it a spiritual gift, and it is not. The heart chakra healing will clear this up. Because you will be, if you try to bypass that, you will constantly be pushed down energetically. It will constantly be put in your face, because you cannot continue in this process until you have healthy boundaries. You need to be autonomous in this. That is the whole point of this process. Friendship circles will also shift. Like, it will be like the next phase in clearing out, if like whoever survived this. But a lot of people who, when they're like around certain friends or whatever, and they always say, oh, I feel really drained, or this person steals my energy. They're not stealing your energy. You're openly and freely give it. If you are constantly drained after friendship interaction or human interaction, it's because you have a weak energy body and you are allowing people to take from you. You have to learn this, because if you are truly going through a Kundalini awakening process, your energy is needed by everybody. And so you have to know how to have a strong energy body, because everyone's going to be drawn to you. But apart from that, even if you're not going through an actual awakening process, you have to know how to have a healthy, strong energy body, so that you're not like, oh, I can't be near this person, or I don't want to go here because the energy, it steals from me. Nobody steals from you. You openly give. You openly give. And this is where you create those strong structures so that it doesn't happen anymore. Again, it's about being autonomous. You have to be so strong in your being that that doesn't happen anymore. And that will radically change the dynamic of all your relationships, friends, lovers, family, all of it. Because you could be around just about anybody and it doesn't fucking matter. I love being around everybody. I love humans. You guys have probably heard me say this 1,000 times. I love hearing people's stories. To me, every time I am engaging with somebody, it is a chance for me to view Maya in a way that I'm not capable of viewing it. It doesn't mean that I need to be like this with them, but I love it. I love hearing people's stories and their points of view, especially if they're different from mine. I feel like it's a literal sickness right now that nobody knows how to have disagreements, and like, it's just showing the weakness in energy body right now, that everybody just has to cut everyone off because they don't know how to interact, and everybody takes everything so offensively. Like, it's okay. Work on your energy body. Get strong. It doesn't matter just because someone disagrees or they live life different than you. That doesn't affect how you live your life. It just shows the weakness where there's some type of core wound where you think that that is true and that this person is going to somehow shift your energy. All right, I'm coming up on 10 minutes. That's the end of this video. Heart chakra.